Mic check 1 2. So, as many of you heard this morning, I am starting to sell on Amazon. I've become an Amazon reseller. And one of the things that I discovered today is that it's a lot easier to sell PlayStation items than it is to sell Nintendo items on Amazon. For some reason, it's just really tough to sell Nintendo items. And it's actually harder to sell more retro games than it is to sell newer games. When I initially said that I was going to be selling on Amazon, one of the commenters notated that, or they commented that it's going to take a little bit for me to get ungated, which was partially true. There are certain items that I'm able to sell like straight out of the gate, like I can sell certain things right out, right off the bat. But then there are other items that I have to request approval for. And there are some items that when you go to sell on Amazon, there isn't even an option to request to be approved to sell on there. And so it is a bit of a challenge. The good thing is that I didn't go out and buy up a bunch of stuff to start selling on Amazon. I already had a bunch of stuff that, I either had listed on other sites, or I just had kind of here at the house, just, kind of waiting to be sold. So, uh, Amazon definitely has a learning curve. It's not as easy as eBay or Mercari, because those are just, those are sites where you pretty much snap the photos, you take the photo, you put it online, and you wait for someone to either give you an offer or buy the game right out. Whereas Amazon is a lot more like a business, which is why I understand now why it takes a certain type of approach to really successfully run an Amazon business. So now that I'm actually into the thick of it, and it's only one day, right? I haven't gone through, mind you, I haven't taken any of like really of the training courses or anything like that. I kind of just have been kind of clicking my way through it. Just kind of, I kind of took the act first, plan later approach, which probably wasn't the best approach when it comes to launching something like this. But I know myself, and I'm the type of person that kind of suffers from analysis paralysis. So if I'm gonna do something, I have to just jump out there and do it and learn as I go. So for me, it's gonna be a learn as you go process. As I kind of just dive into it, it definitely makes me have a little more respect for some of the folks who do sell on Amazon and have been selling on Amazon for quite some time. And I kind of understand why some folks are just so methodical about how they go about sourcing their games and listing their games, and why they treat you know uh, retro games, like a business, which if you're reselling, that's essentially what it is. And I think there's like a fine line between like reselling and collecting, because on as a reseller, you kind of have to have zero attachment to the video game, right? Like you can't really have any attachment, any emotional attachment, any nostalgic attachment to the game when you're in reseller mode, because really you have to just be thinking about the bottom line, the dollar. And that's really how resellers are successful, because they're constantly thinking about their margins, they're constantly thinking about the bottom line, and there is zero emotion in that. However, as a collector, there's a ton of emotion in collecting, right? It's all nostalgia based. It's all about how a game makes you feel. And so when you are a combination of both reseller and collector, it's a dichotomy that's really interesting to deal with on a daily basis, especially, when you run into certain things and run into certain games. Now, the good thing for me is that a lot of the heavy hitters and games that I would consider grails, I already have about 85% of those games in my collection. So it's not likely that I'll run into something, even if I'm like hunting in the wild, or, I go to a convention, whatever the case may be. It's highly unlikely that I'll run into something that I'll feel like I don't want to sell on Amazon. That's part one. And part two, a lot of the games that I really enjoy, a lot of the games that, I consider grills, a lot of the games that I'm about don't really do well on Amazon. I feel like it's like the Pokemon games. It's like, the more mainstream AAA games. Like a lot of those mainstream games are the ones that do well on Amazon. Games like Thunder Force 3 and Lightning Force and Phelios and Hyper Duel and Burning Rangers, those aren't really like games that you're really gonna see. At least I don't think so. You guys can let me know down in the comments. But from what I see, when it comes to other video game resellers, when I see them on YouTube, they're usually picking up a lot of that mainstream, just stuff that I wouldn't take a second look at if I was in GameStop. Those are the games that they're going for because they're games that they know that they can easily sell and make a decent margin on. And so I kind of have to shift my focus and shift my frame of mind, especially when I'm out hunting, because it's really not about the games that I like or the games that I would play, and it's really more so going to be about the games that will sell well or do well on Amazon. And so now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I probably don't have as many games as I thought I would to be able to sell on Amazon, because there's just a lot of what I have is probably better suited for like a Whatnot or maybe a like eBay and things like that. So which Whatnot is something that I might do. I've had a few people on my channel tell me like, hey bro, you should do a Whatnot. You should have a Whatnot stream. You should sell some of your games on Whatnot. And I just like that's gonna be the last stop for me. I've already done the eBay, the Mercari, the OfferUps. Now I'm getting into Amazon. I'm a ways from Whatnot. I don't think I'm anywhere close to that. I think if I start taking reselling a lot more serious, once I kind of get a handle on Amazon and I learn it and I become proficient with it, I think that's when I'll probably try other things like Whatnot and stuff like that. But as of right now, I think, after just having one day, I have listed one item. It wasn't a video game, but I do have one listing up. But now that I actually have that listing up and I'm starting to get the feel for it, there definitely is a learning curve. I'm realizing that a lot of what I have probably isn't best suited for Amazon, and selling retro games is going to be difficult on Amazon just because, like I said, a lot of the product categories do have some serious restrictions, and I'm probably going to have to build up some Amazon street cred before I'm able to actually try and apply even to be able to sell some of these things. But the good news is that Sony has a low barrier to entry. And so because of that, I should be able to start selling some PlayStation 4 and some PlayStation 3 games, which that actually works out in my favor because PS4 games are some of the easiest games to find and source right now. Just because we're at that, the sun is setting on that console. It's in its twilight era. And if it, pretty soon, a lot of those games will be, probably at their lowest. So I guess that's a good thing, being able to get to PlayStation. And then there are so many, games that Sony has between the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2. There should just be a lot more room to run there, and it'll help me get used to listing and selling on there. So day one in the books, I got one listing up, progress. I mean, a little progress, right? Just like the gym, one day at a time, one push-up at a time, 1 pound at a time, till you get to your goal. So it's Friday night. Hopefully you're doing something fun tonight. Hopefully you got some really cool plans. Maybe you're getting some pizza, some wings, a movie, whatever it is, enjoy. And I'll catch you over this weekend. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.